Hey, welcome to another episode of the Goalpost, and I'm joined by certified lover boy Sam and Sihle. What's happening, gents?
Young boys.
Yo,
Good. All
Sisuka,
good.
dog.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. No, but besides that, good game, day, game one. Lukaku came through for us.
Yeah,
Bayern Munich did a number on
Chelsea.
Barcelona. I don't know if you saw the stat where Barcelona didn't have one shot on target the whole game.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Crazy.
yo, that is
Yep.
bad, man. Yo,
And then Juve won.
yeah,
In the league, they had 4 games, one draw. They collected 1 point from 4 games, and they
yeah.
actually won yesterday. So they're quite confident. I don't want to face them next because they might be on the up. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's my side. Certified. I don't know where you are.
Yeah, hey, certified. What's
Uh,
happening?
yeah. I'm okay. It was an interesting day. I suppose expected teams won. If you look at Chelsea, if you look at Juve, if you look at Bayern, our result I think was the only result where you can question. But yeah, interesting game. Day one, and yeah,
Yeah, no,
so.
indeed. Yeah, indeed, Sam, bruh. Let's start off with our fixture first. I just wanna get the negative energy that's within my soul right now out. My therapist said that it's important that you actually speak to people. Whenever you've got something bothering you. And yeah, like yesterday, I watched. I digested that energy and let it metabolize nicely. Sihle was bothering me again, hit me with a text. So many people were just texting me yesterday.
No, no. Let's be honest. I didn't bother you. I was just concerned. I think
Yeah,
can ask like literally
yeah, you
first
can go
question.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What went wrong yesterday?
Okay, I'll answer that, Sam. So, okay, from on my end, I just think from a tactical standpoint, we're a team that has we don't really have a style of play. So from the get go, um, we yes, apart from Ronaldo scoring the goal, we didn't look as if we were threatening. Our ball retention was very poor. I'm not gonna blame it on the pitch because I saw a lot of the times our players kept slipping. But I won't necessarily put blame on the pitch. Because really, dog, I mean, you're a professional. You need to be able to adjust and play accordingly. But for me, it's mostly from a tactical standpoint. I mean, we score the goal right against young boy Bruno Fernandes. Hooks uh, he hooks it up for Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ronaldo finishes. Um, whether the whether people can say the goalkeeper made up an error, it really doesn't matter as long as the
Yeah.
goal ends up in the back of the net. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Um, it's just in here for me, Gakulu. We just we just don't have any style of play, bruh. And it is quite concerning, especially when we're playing against teams that actually sit back, teams that don't necessarily attack us. And young boys actually went for us. I think they had 16 shots in total,
Hmm?
whilst we had only two, which is another thing that really, for me, I find very strange is that we only recorded two shots while young boys had 16. And this is a team that's not even then they apparently the team is not even worth Varane's transfer fee. I think that was around 34 million in total. They're not even worth that much, bro.
And they
We've got
currently
players who are worth 80 bar who look
they
like they are worth fucking 100,000 pounds, bro, in Harry Maguire, dog. From a leadership standpoint, I just feel as if we look very disjointed. Um, Sancho as well. I'm not gonna say he's whack in any way. I just feel as if he hasn't yet adapted to the game. And as well, the way Sancho plays isn't suited to Man United style of play. Because we play on the break. Apparently that's pretty much what we do. Whenever we go forward, it's normally whenever we turn over possession. And Sancho is a player who's normally used to playing intricate passes, like one-touch football, and we don't play that. We don't have players that complement him.
That's
And
bold
on the
for you to
right,
say that he doesn't play your style of football. You courted the guy for what, two years? Back and forth for 2 years, only to come back and say he doesn't play your style of play.
He doesn't play Ole's style of play. That I can say, because Sancho excels whenever he's playing with players who play one-touch football. Give and go. One Bisaka is not a give and go guy. You saw yesterday. He got the red card purely because of his first touch. I mean, his first touch was bad, and then he went in for the tackle, and then, it was a red card. Like, it matched the card matched the color of his boots. He was wearing red Adidas boots yesterday. So, for me, that was a red card. But still, even with us getting a red card, I still feel as if we did not manage the game properly. Like, we just didn't. But let Sam share his part. I don't want to talk too much on my end. Yeah.
Cool, man. I agree entirely with you. It's just patterns of actual play.
Yeah.
It's actually very concerning because we don't know how we actually play. So patterns of play are very important. I remember listening to an interview where the current manager of Chelsea was saying, it doesn't matter if you switch to a back four, you switch to a back five or anything. Patterns of play are still the same. Triangle passes, half spaces. We like speaking a lot about half spaces and stuff. So patterns of play are a big, prop, because most of the time, if you see us going forward, like I think you actually mentioned the fact that play has to actually break, and then we then go on a counter, and then you have a moment of like Bruno or like Pogba spraying like a pass. But to see us play from mid.
Yo.
Yeah, I think we lost him in the middle of a conversation, a sentence there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I watched the game, and this is like from I don't want to really watch the game because I'd watched your manager psych up the team in the press conference the day before, and he was convinced that literally you guys could go all the way to the final, and I was quite pumped. I was like, yeah, that's good. And then you went one up, brilliant. And then the red. Normally, when you get a red card, so say you playing against it's Chelsea against Liverpool, any of the big sides, a red card that changes the dynamics of the game. But as a team, I'd expect that you've gone through the exercise of going training and saying, hey, if we lose a player, this is what happened. So there will be either like just in case you don't play for it, but just in case, and you play losing two players, that this is what will happen. So when you guys the red, and I said right through, that's a straight red, but no questions asked.
No questions, bro.
But what I struggled with was, I just wanted to, like, you shouldn't have Ole shouldn't have panicked. You're playing against a side that's currently fourth in the local league. The Swiss league is not like the best league in Europe. So continue with the gameplay as is. Let's see what happens. But for some odd reason, he decided, you know what? I'm going to put up a fortress for you guys to break. And I'm like, no, man.
Dude,
this is you basically saying, I respect you too much. I'm happy with the protecting the 1-goal lead. And I'm like, this is Champions League.
My G.
Champions League, you right up until the ref blows his final whistle, only then you can say the game is over. But for him, 40th minute, he's like, yeah, I'm happy with this 1-0. That was dangerous. And then they scored. And then you guys just went into a panic. You just kept on going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I feel for Jesse. I liked him while he was at when he went out on loan. Yeah, I liked him. But I blame the manager for playing him or putting him in that position, because it was just rookie mistakes after rookie mistakes. I mean, you pull a Fred and you put Jesse in that position. That position, you are on the back foot. It requires a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
And guess what happened in the 94th minute?
An error.
Literally, yeah, 94th minute. Okay, gents, let's walk away with the draw. It's fine. We'll make it up when we go home. But the manager put him in that position of, you are going to play where Fred was playing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he went right ahead and sloppy back pass for that. And it's a good thing that the young boys were psyched, and yeah, the young boys did the things.
Yeah. I know that's true, bruh. Sam, please finish off what you had to say, bruh.
Yeah, guys. Apologies, Wi-Fi acting out, but yeah,
it's all good. It's all good, bro.
So I was just speaking about the reasons why we, lost as well. The second thing I wanted to speak about, which you mentioned, is Aaron Wan Bisaka. Aaron Wan Bisaka is a 50 million player, player, which doesn't make sense to me, because his first touch caused that red,
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense to me that England decided to go with three people who play in his very same position, showing that he's probably number 4 or number 5 in line, but we bought him for 50 million and he plays every game. So something needs to be done there in terms of, I don't know, I don't know what more to say, but Bisaka is, he is a problem there. And thirdly, I was going to mention subs, right? Substitution. Oli, the irony of it is, Oli is the super sub, right? But it's make substitutions. So,
but it's not super. It's subbing.
Exactly, like it's such a weird thing, because you're questioning. Okay, you are down to 10 men. You need someone to at least do something for you. You take Bruno out, and you're like, okay, so who is going to be providing that special ball, because the team doesn't have much of it anyway. So by the time we get some, passes together, we need someone to spray a pass forward. I just don't understand the way he thinks about his subs. But overall, it was, I wasn't too hacked about the loss. Back pass happens at times. Yeah, it is one of those things in, football. You shouldn't be accepting it, of course, but even the, best, sometimes make errors. But at the end of the day, I think it's also like a wake-up call. But I think I've said this before to you, is like, sometimes when losses happen under, Oli, there's like a sinking feeling. It's like, I know this feeling. And that's the kind of mode we are at the moment, where a nothing manager, like I've said before, he won't produce anything. So it's highs and lows. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true, my G.
But on those sub decisions. So sorry, the X. I was looking at it. So you've got CR, who is pinning back 3 defenders, like literally pinning back 3 defenders, because Cristiano, as a player in Champions League, is a beast. Everybody knows that. So I'm pretty sure the Swiss manager went and told them, you do not let him out of your sight. And guess what Ole goes and does? He takes him off. literally freeing up the 3 defenders that were pinned back, saying, no, it's fine. We'll play half ground. I've built a fortress that you guys cannot penetrate. Try. But then I'm thinking, okay, cool. He's going to play on the counter. Mason Greenwood pace. No.
Yeah.
That just baffled me. I thought maybe there's a master plan that he's working on that when he unleashes, everybody will be like,
Yeah.
But it was none of that.
And you see, another thing is, gents, ball retention is so pivotal, especially when like your team needs to be. Then we need, like, I feel like United aren't. They don't do. I feel like in training, it's as if we don't do any like training when it comes to ball retention. It's important that as a team we know how to pass the ball and pass the ball comfortably, especially when you are down to 10 men, because at the end of the day, defending ball retention is also a form of defense. Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, they didn't have big guys as defenders, but because they were very good at holding on to the ball, it's another way of defending. And I feel as if with Man United, we're just not good at holding on to possession. Like, especially when you're down to 10 men. Like, I'll use Liverpool and I'll use the Liverpool and Chelsea game. When Chelsea went down to 10 men, and this was just before halftime, Salah scores the penalty equalizer. And you know what's crazy? That's Chelsea's only goal that they've conceded this season, and that's through a penalty. In open play, Chelsea don't concede goals. And the reason why they don't is because of how they retain the ball. Even in the second half, Chelsea, yes, Liverpool had more possession, but they did not know what to do with it. And every time Chelsea would get the ball, they were still comfortable enough to even attack Liverpool, because
they could have won that game.
You see exactly like Kovacic. If Kovacic knew how to actually shoot, you guys would have stole it. You guys didn't just sit back and invite pressure, because when you invite pressure, mistakes happen, and that's part of the reasons why Jesse Lingard made that error that he made. It was a very costly error, but that's what happens when you sit back and you defend. Mistakes happen. So for me, I feel like in training, man, like what does Mike Phelan Carrick do with these guys in training, bro? Because at the end of the day, I feel as if things don't change, Sam, we've got players who have who have crazy expectations, players who have achieved it all. Varane has achieved it all. He just needs a Euro, and then he's got every single major medal. Ronaldo has achieved it all, even at United. Let's not even talk about his trophies at Real Madrid. At United alone, he's achieved it all, right? And so now it's going to put a lot of pressure to the manager to actually deliver, especially from a tactical standpoint, because Ole is in charge of that. He can't be told by a player what to do. He needs to be able to know what to do. And I feel as if there will be a division if this continues, where you find, especially the influential players, stand up and say, Yazi, this does not make sense.
I don't know if you saw it yesterday. There was an interesting part of it where Cristiano and like Bruno were actually, I don't know whether they were instructions.
Yeah, I saw that.
You see what I'm saying?
I was like, this was only game 2, Cristiano. Dude, he was on the touchline shouting.
I think CR has coached Portugal before and he won a trophy, so that's fine.
Another thing is that you see CVs play a huge role in managing. No Chelsea player can come and tell Tuchel what to do, because Tuchel has a CV. Klopp has a CV. Pep Guardiola has a CV. What does our coach have when you compare our coach with CR, with Varane?
Yeah, so
you see what I'm saying? Like,
I'm literally
remember even De Gea. There was a time where De Gea got stripped of the armband because he criticized the tactics. And De Gea's honest. In his interviews, De Gea doesn't sugarcoat, or he just says things the way they are, and he's very honest. They asked him, even about the record. I remember we broke that record, that useless record of being unbeaten for like 36 games, away games, 36 away games. There is like records are nice, but what's more nice is winning trophies, you know. And De Gea has experienced that. He's won the Premier League. He's won, you know, he's won. I think him and Jones are the last two players to actually win the Premier League. Okay, excluding Ronaldo, of course. But I'm just saying, you know, before Ronaldo arrived, you were the last two guys to actually win it with Fergie. So they understand how it feels to win trophies and to and for things to be at a high, you know. And right now, my G, right now it's just vibes FC, dog. And I don't see, and to me, bruh, I want to be proven wrong. Okay, yes, I don't like Ole as a manager, but I'd like for him to prove me wrong and say, you know what, X, you're talking out of your ass. I've got this. But right now, he hasn't proved that to me, dog. And so for me, I do this. I won't lie to you, Sam. I wasn't happy, bro, because I watched that game with a bunch of Chelsea fans yesterday, and yeah, it wasn't nice, bro. When we conceded that last goal, bro, you know. But yeah,
So,
man, like yeah, sorry.
so and because I've got like questions for Man United fans.
Yeah,
I know it's only game week 1
yeah.
in Europe. But before I ask you this question, and this is a precursor, last season you failed to get out of the group stages.
Mhm.
You got dumped into Europa, and having look at Europa, Europa requires a certain team to win. I think it would have been a good practice ground for Ole to, had he gotten Europa. I would have
Mhm.
liked, okay, cool. Now I understand. Got knocked out of the group stages and goes and wins Europa, because that's what good teams do. That's what Chelsea
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
How you guys do it all
he
the time?
then he
Yeah.
then goes, he reaches the final, and then he loses the final. Penalties, you never know, but like, you'd like to win the game, not even get to penalties, because penalties, it's a lottery thing. I asked this question, that do you feel for Europe, is there any improvement under
For
Ole?
for us,
Yeah.
um, Ole
Besides
is
besides adding besides adding brilliant players, because you can add brilliant players all you want. If those players don't work towards what the manager is trying to achieve, as to the style of play, how you play, plan A, plan B, plan C. Do you
yeah.
feel there's, you could say that, hey, yeah, we're going forward as a team?
Uh, okay, can I just yeah? I'll answer this one first, Sam. Ole has managed 11 European games for United and has lost 7 of those 11. That's a fail already. You know, like it's a fail in my opinion.
That's a
From
nice
that,
that's a nice
yeah,
bet.
it's yeah, but like of course, I mean, we yesterday we saw the eye test. We didn't see stats. We were watching the game, and you could clearly see that here it's a mess. It's a mess, bruh. It's just like, you know, abstract art when you take different colors and you just pour them onto the canvas and just, you know what I
Hope
mean?
for the best.
Yeah, that's just how I feel, bruh. Sam, on your end, dog.
Look, the Champions League is a different beast in terms of,
Yeah,
what you need to, how you actually need to, play. So I agree with you. I don't think he has that experience to know what to do. So I think the biggest thing for me is, with the squad, which is actually there, you have no excuses, because you've got 5 changes and you've got quality. But if you don't know how to make use of the quality during the actual game, then that's where the problem is. Because speaking about the final as well, I mean, if we can speak about that, I think he made 3 subs in the last 5 minutes or something. And then he was saying I didn't have options and stuff. So I think, yeah, it will take Oli quite some time to have a level which allows him to play in the biggest league, because I look at all the coaches. Pep. He has been to semifinals, but the final actually post leaving Barcelona has been a problem. Mourinho was the same thing, where you've got a top level coach, but when he went to Real Madrid, he was semifinal. Now Pep went to the final. Thomas as well. We went to PSG, tried to hit it, went to the final. So Europe it's a very difficult competition. So for you not to have that experience, yeah, it's a big factor in only not achieving.
Yeah, yeah, man. I fully concur with you, Sam, bro. For me personally, bro, even if you'd give only 11 world-class players, bro, we still wouldn't win anything of significance, bro. Because at the end of the day, you need to have a style of play. Like that's just for me. I'm more into systems and team play than individuals. I'm like that, bro. And I think the reason why I'm like that is because I look at how we were under Fergie when we had your Wildbacks, your Cleverleys, your Jones, your Smallings, all these players on world class, bro. But they were winning us leagues, bro. And that's purely because of tactics and playing as a unit. And so for me, that's what I truly believe in. I believe in that. And if we would have a Conte, I know you like Conte, Sam. Sam, I know he's one of your favorite managers in the world. Would Conte would have a system, and even players like Abo Bruno, should they feel that they're not down, it's easy for him to say, okay, fine, you can chill there. I will play one Mata in your role and make one Mata look dope. That's because I've got a system. I know how to bring out the best out of my players. That's that's what I want. It's like I remember when Hudson Odoi, for you guys, when Tuchel started as a manager, there's something that Hudson Odoi did. He was substituted in. He did something that was offside, and then he
He
substituted
didn't track
him
back.
out.
Yeah,
Once
he didn't track back.
he didn't track back. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
homie, out. You can sit on the bench. I'll replace you with someone who will actually do the role for you. And that's when Hudson, I think his game changed from there, because
So
he then understood that, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And when you replace to Hudson, still your team was fine. Whereas with us United, whenever we make major have you noticed, Sam? Whenever we make 3 or 4 changes, bruh, we are in disarray because he's so reliant on his first 11, and to a point where even Rashford was playing with an injury because he was so reliant on individuals bailing him out instead of having a tactic.
You're really speaking on replacements, but like I think it's a weird question for me to ask. Ole gets fired at United. Which of the Premier sides take him as a manager?
None. Not he won't manage in the Premier League, dog.
Arsenal.
Arsenal
fans.
They would keep the dog while it's down.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick it hard.
Because I thought about it, I'm like, okay, he gets fired. EPL, who's gonna take him?
Who? Maji. He's screwed, bro. He's screwed. Dog, like after this, bro, should he not achieve anything, he's pretty much screwed because there's no top team or like no one in the Premier League would consider him as a manager.
Then I would ask you, Frank, as well. If you were to find a club at the moment, Frank, which club do you think Frank is likely to land?
After the horror show.
Come on, it wasn't a horror show. Come on.
It was. So I think that's the difference. That's the difference in fan expectation. What Chelsea has done over the couple of years is they can foresee that, hey, it's going south, and they're very quick to pull the handbrake and say, hey, we stop here. Let's replace you. Because I can promise you now, if you take Abramovich and you take Frank, and Frank is a club legend. There was a part of me when they let him go that I was very much disappointed in the owner, but I understood the greater good of that. I was being personal on something that I could see that this train is yeah, where this is heading right now. Because the unfortunate thing with football is that it's one of those things where the minute that you go down, it's very difficult for you to stop that slump, and you just continuously, and then you end up as an Arsenal 19th.
Yeah.
But my point is, do you feel in 6 months' time, once you are knocked out of the group stages of Champions League, would you have said we should have fired him then, or do you think fire him now and give the new manager a squad and a whole season? Because
Sam,
if you do let him go now, you've only played what, 4 games, 1 game in the Champions League, so you still have quite a couple of games.
Sam.
Yeah, so Oli began the season by signing a new contract. So talks of him ever going anyway, I think, yeah, Oli isn't going anytime soon. But I like the fact that we actually have a Chelsea fan on, because what happened at Chelsea by having Frank there, inexperienced, but then he managed a season, and then players came in, right? And then after the signings came in, expectations went up, right? And then that's where we saw a bit of, problems there. So we had an inexperienced manager managing players, which weren't Mount. Like Mount, who was always going to be, thank you, Frank, because you took me from, and then you had quality players coming in who were also looking at him and saying,
the transfer ban actually worked for Frank.
Yeah,
because remember when
yeah.
he came in, he couldn't buy any of the top players. He just inherited from the development side, where he then went and said, "Okay, cool, I see what you're saying. Where it's a Mount. Thank you for."
You've got players who want to play for you, and then so now when that inexperience starts to manage players who are of a different level, cracks will show. So that's the first thing for me. What Chelsea did, and it's showing like almost every game now, because yesterday it was like 10 men versus 11, and everyone was like, but then Chelsea did this with 10 men and what, and I'm like, oh, now you see, an experienced manager helps, eh? So that Chelsea thing, it will work against him. The second thing, which is going to work against Ole, is the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo. If Cristiano Ronaldo goes to Ed and says, yo, this guy, right? We used to be fans of this player power when they were telling us that Martial is saying he won't sign a new contract if Mourinho stays, or Pogba is having fights with Mourinho, and we're like, nah, Mourinho should go. I'm foreseeing a situation now where CR7 goes to Ed and is like, yo, this guy needs to go. Because CR7 money, and Ed loves one thing. He loves money. So unfortunately, those are the two things that I think are going to count against Oli. So yeah.
I fully agree with you, Sam. I foresee I'm not sure if you guys watch Marvel movies, but Avengers Civil War, where Captain America had his own clique while Iron Man had his own clique. I foresee that happening at United as well, bro, because expectations are now in the clouds. They're not even on the roof, they're in the clouds. Because on paper, Sihle, last week we rated the best squads in the Champions League, and United was third.
Yeah.
From our perspective, of course,
Just looking at the squad and
just
the players,
on paper. Like if you were playing FIFA, my G, and you've got Christian and you select United, bro, our squad is fired. It's fire on FIFA, dog. So that explains. It just shows you that, bro. Right now, we have a Mercedes-Benz and Bottas predicament where Bottas has a very good car, but just struggles to bring out the best out of this car, essentially. And so that's how I feel. And yes, Ole is a legend. I will respect Ole as a person who has done something for the club. But at the end of the day, bro, it I just want to see our players do well, bro. We can't sign as players and then when they arrive at our team, they don't look the part. They look decent, you know. For instance, when you look at Sancho, bro, Sancho doesn't look like a good signing, bro. And in my
And
eyes, I think
he
this.
cost you quite a pretty penny, eh?
Yeah, exactly. And on my end, I think he's a good player. It's just that the way we play as United, because we playing freestyle football, there really isn't any cohesion. And we've got a right back who can't play ball. You know, Wan Bisaka can't play soccer, guys. I got you, but he just can't play simple football. And another thing is that should or when Ole leaves, when we replace Ole with a good manager, a lot of our players, like Wan Bissaka, is gonna start eating bench. Like, like I'm telling you now, Wan Bissaka, it's gonna be D-Day for a lot of players, bro. And
But do you guys feel that the longer Oli stays, the more he's tainting his legacy?
Yo, I've
yeah, you
got
go.
a very short answer, bro. And I feel bad for saying this because, like, I really, really feel bad. Football is a very difficult sport, and there's a few percentage of people who actually make it, right?
Yeah,
So, what Oli managed in his playing career and time, like, very few people manage that, right? Play for Manchester United, score a winning goal in the Champions League final. But legacy, legend, I've always questioned. I don't know whether Oli is an actual legend. And I said I feel bad because Oli was striker number 4 at our club. He was the fourth choice striker. There was Andy Cole, there was York,
yo,
there was Teddy, and
yeah,
then there was Oli. So I've always questioned the ambition of someone who was comfortable sitting on the bench as a fourth choice striker, knowing that I'm just playing in a team which wins every week. So I said I feel very, very bad, but Oli as a legend, like there isn't anything for me, to be honest, personally. I don't
yeah.
view him in the same way I view Rooney. I don't view him in the same way I view, different
See, yeah,
players who are
bro.
actual legends. So like playing days wise, so it's very different from like Frank, right? Frank is a club legend. He's the top, scorer for you guys. So Ole doesn't have anything which I would feel bad for if he were to leave, to be honest, because
Yeah,
he scored a Champions League winning goal. I think it was off his sheen as well. Off his, it wasn't really.
yeah.
Like, yeah, dog. Like I'm chilled. Like I'm
And
very chill.
and you know what's crazy, Sam, dog? When you look at Sir Alex Ferguson, look at all like think of all the players he's produced, right? Who he has managed, but none of them aren't elite managers right now. You can't even select one and say this
Hey,
one is an
but
elite manager.
yeah,
None of them,
yeah.
bro.
Hey, but it isn't his fault, dog.
Yeah, I'm not just saying, but I'm just saying, dog, because a lot of the times, especially with the pundits in the UK, a lot of these pundits are actually all his friends. And have you seen how they always do their best
Soft.
to defend them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're not
No,
as
but
aggressive the way
no,
when
what
Mourinho
kills me,
got up.
what
Yeah,
kills me is when Sky gets Paul Scholes. They get I
real.
can't remember. Yes, and they ask them to critique Oli, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, get the hell out of here! Like
Yeah,
really?
I've always questioned that as well. Like
yeah,
match day live and you see Scholes and you see Rio. I'm like, I'm only going to get one opinion here. It's not
exactly.
anything. It's
There
soft.
was a there was a time where Robin van Persie was on. Van Persie
Yeah.
was honest.
Hey,
He
he tore him up. I recall that,
yeah,
and
and
he
ever
received a
since
lot of backlash actually.
you see what I'm saying, dog, he did, and from our fan base, bro, which is crazy. And this guy was just being honest. He's like, let me be honest, from a coaching standpoint. And then he gave an honest opinion. He wasn't wrong in anything he said, bro. It's just that I just don't get some of our fan base, like a lot of our fan base, dog, is at times I feel
But
like we don't deserve nice things as United supporters. I got it,
but I
bruh.
think if I look at it, I think
Yeah,
Man United and Arsenal are parallel right now. Hear me out.
yeah,
Hear me out. Hear me out. Um, the Frank Lampard disaster train, as it
mhm,
hit, it allowed United to finish second, which flattered United into thinking, actually, we're onto a good thing here tactically. Because one thing Ole does is when it's crunch time, when he needs to win the games, when everyone is saying
yeah,
he's going to get fired, he will pull 6 games. He will
yeah,
win all of them, the next 6. And then Arsenal did the same thing. They played Chelsea. I think it was the FA Cup or was it I can't remember which cup it was in the final, and they won.
yeah,
And Arsenal fans picked that trophy as, oh yeah, we're moving forward. But
yeah,
meanwhile, it was a drunken moving forward where it was 1 step forward and 2 steps back.
yeah.
So then I asked the next question. You let him go right now. You speak of Conte. Would Conte be comfortable taking a side with all those stars and looking at the management part of it? Because I'm pretty sure if he comes in, all his assistants, they got to go.
Yeah, they must go over there. How
And
that
remember,
decision?
Conte is one of those managers that is vocal as, yeah,
Yeah,
he's one of
Yeah,
those where if he doesn't like you as a player, you
yeah,
know. If he doesn't
yeah.
like you as the board, you know.
You will know. And he has expectations as well. I mean, that's how he left Inter. He won the league for Inter Milan. Inter were like, hey, we don't have funds. We want to
Selling.
sell Lukaku. Then he was
It's
like,
like,
okay, guys, my standards are high. So, deuces, I'm out of here. You know, I built this team, and then you guys are going to dismantle this team. And
no,
for
the
me,
board.
I feel, sorry?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I just feel as if, bro, like, come on, man. Like, the board needs to, especially with United, dog, we're a big team, dog. We really are a big team. And it's important that guys like, if let's say we'd get Conte or Zidane or anyone of that ilk to match the we guys to like match their standards in the sense that they want to win stuff.
Yeah.
We're a team that's known for winning trophies, bruh. So for them
Now, but I
to
think
settle for
with the Conte relationship, I think what happened there is
yeah,
they hired him and told him, "Listen, we'll support you in this project that you are thinking." They didn't anticipate him doing what he did, and
yeah,
then they saw an opportunity of cashing out because they thought, "Oh no,
yeah,
we good. Let's cash out." We're pretty sure he's going to rebuild again. And then he
yeah,
sat back. He's like, "Nah, I'd rather go be unemployed." And I respect him for that.
yeah.
In that
Standards
he
might
could have
be.
stuck it out for like 3 months and then seen that, nah, this is not working out and bail. But he didn't.
Yeah.
He just decided, I want no part of this. I'm not gonna taint my legacy just on the board's greed.
Yeah, bro. And I mean, like rightfully so, bro. I feel like as a manager, that's what I'd like to hire someone who's like that, bro. And with our team, dog, there's not much he needs to do. He doesn't need to buy in a shitload of players because our team is pretty much complete. You know,
Nah, he
maybe
needs
there'll be
a
guys.
if he comes in, he needs a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, I feel
And
like
that's it.
he's a coach that is able to okay, yes, we do need a DM, but he is capable of implementing a system that can at least, help guys like Abu Donny van der Beek, maybe
Ah,
adjust to
yo,
playing
I
as a
feel for
DM.
that boy. He
Yeah.
can't catch a
Because
break. Honestly,
yeah,
I'm starting to feel
yeah,
loan him out.
yeah, we have to because what again? Everton came in and they wanted him on loan, and Ole refused. It's like he's gonna use him, but he doesn't use him, Brian. He doesn't even use him properly. Because my thing is that you need to use these players properly. Paul Pogba is not being used properly. A lot of our players aren't being used properly, dog.
But I
And we
also I
can't,
struggle.
as fans, And as fans, we can't expect miracles, bruh, if a player is not being used properly. That's just my opinion, bruh. Like, you got to use your players properly, bro. And that's why if you have a system, you implement a system that hides a player's deficiencies, you know. And
I also struggle with Pogba. I struggle with him,
yeah,
eh? Like
dude.
Pogba is one of those players that on a good day you can't play him.
Yeah.
And when I say on a good day, that's when he is negotiating his contract.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Sam, I know you have something to say.
No, I was going to speak about Pogba, but I don't have it now. Because Pogba was one of the players in the game where he was just out of it, where you expected him to, get the ball.
Stand up and be counted, yeah.
And I've been thinking about this a lot, about what you need to be for you to be called someone who is in the ilk of Cristiano, Messi, Kylian. You need to be a player who defines a role for yourself. Because I listened to like Donny on this thing where he was saying, I played 10 at Ajax, but I started off playing 8. But if the manager wants to play me, I can even play 6. And it's like, no, dog, if you want to be a world-class player, you need to define a role for yourself.
Yeah,
don't get to a point where you say, I can just play anyway. And this is a frustration of mine, even with, Paul. Paul, what is his actual role? Because with the quality, we should be knowing by now, bro, after 4 or 5 years, that Paul plays here. And this is what Paul does. But they still play him out at the left, and he's like, oh, sure, I like going forward. Or they play him in the mid. Oh, okay, I can. No. Define a role. Define a role for yourself, I think that was one of the reasons Saul also left. He was also crying about being played out of his actual role. And it's like, I'm leaving. Sorry?
Which player is this?
Saul.
Who?
Saul.
Oh.
Yes. From
Atletico Madrid.
Yeah, the Chelsea player. Yeah. So he was complaining that I was being played out of my role. So you need to define it for yourself. So that's one of the things with Paul.
This is gonna be a controversial statement, but best believe if we get a manager of Tuchel's ilk, Paul Pogba will be played in the number 10 position automatically, bruh. Because for instance, with Conte managed Paul Pogba. Conte is the one who actually told Fergie
who revived him,
games. You're gonna let this kid rot. Bring him here. Let me show you how you use this kid. And he played him further advanced, So for me, I feel like Pogba, the position that Bruno is playing right now is meant to be Paul Pogba's position. That is just my opinion. I feel like he'd flourish in that position, bro. Personally, that's how I feel, and that's the position he played when we were playing a double pivot up under Herrera, Matic, and then Pogba was in the middle. That's when Pogba was oozing. That's when Pogba made team of the season in the Premier League. For me, that's the position I'd prefer Pogba to play in. That's just all I need.
Because we're chilling with the Chelsea fan, I like to say no, because that number 10 role isn't Pogba's, it's Bruno's, because Bruno came to the club and made Ole know that this is my role, and he plays that role and he performs in that role. The reason why I was mentioning Chelsea is like Werner. You end up becoming are you a 9? Are you a winger? So, quality players, there's no questioning, bro. They go in there and they're like, this is my role.
And they own it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to shoot a question and say, are there any weak spots in Chelsea?
Yeah.
At the moment, are there any weak spots in Chelsea? Because at the moment, bro, everything looks like it's perfect, from manager to squad, to how he uses the squad, to the way you play, to the defense, which is, bro, it's good.
So there's two.
So yeah.
The first one is the expectation. In that going forward, literally Europe, you're champions of Europe. So the next best thing is to be champions of Europe or continue to be champions of Europe. That's the first that I see, first problem. The next problem is should your touch wood Big Ron get injured, because we are so used to that positional play where there is a focal point in him, where he runs in channels and you can pass the ball, he holds it for you. If he does get injured, he's one of those players that his injuries are not for like a week, 2 weeks out. He's normally out for like 5 weeks, 10 weeks. And by then, which system do we revert to? So what I'm hoping happens is you get these next couple of matches where you build up confidence in Timo, feeding off Big Rom. You take Rom out in those games, and then Timo learns to actually lead the line. In that there's no dependency on Big Rom. Sure, fine, you've lost a player, but the system can still continue. I'm not saying that Timo must hold the play, but Timo runs in channels. Like literally, he's a speed merchant, so he opens up play. But the one thing I'm hoping is Big Rom not to get injured.
Yeah, I think I know one weakness, but it's it's an area. I'd say an area to work on. I don't like using the word weakness.
Okay.
But I feel as if Chelsea don't create a lot of chances. They don't. You guys don't create a lot of chances, bro.
Hey, but yesterday we were playing against that French team is that Russian team is actually they talented defense wise, and Mason Mount had a horror show. I don't know whether he was tired tired, whether from not playing the previous weekend, but he had a terrible game.
Yeah. For me, it's just that because at times, bro, Lukaku may not have his shooting boots on. Like it does happen where a player is just
goes
not
through
day. So for me, I just feel as if it's not a major issue because Gakulu, you guys have solidified the back because you guys don't concede goals, bro. Like it's just don't concede goals, bro. We saw over the weekend when we were watching the Villa game. Like you weren't even stressed, bro. I mean, you're like, they're not gonna score. Mendy, that was it.
Yeah, there was a 10 minutes. There was a 10 minutes where Mendy was just defining what our defense is. Like literally, I think he put like 4 saves. Yeah, it was 4 saves in 10 minutes, and they were pretty decent saves, and they kept us in the game. Yeah. When I said from your side, have you picked up anything we need to work on?
No, bro, I haven't. As a United fan, I will admit, I love listening to like Thomas. After games, Thomas Tuchel's insight.
He's honest.
At the moment, I'm just listening to it, and I listen to Klopp a lot as well after games, and just listen to the way they think about football, the way they talk about football, and then obviously I switch to Ole. Then he tells us, Bruno had a good game. So at the moment, I haven't picked anything. That's why I was asking you, because I don't see any weak point. Because remember, Kante isn't even in the team.
Yeah.
But the team is see. So
So you speak on listening to managers. The 2 managers that you mentioned, Klopp and Tuchel. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy their post-match, their pre-match and their post-match interviews. In that there's a level of honesty, and in them being honest, they're very brutal to their own players. And I think as a player, you're a professional. You get to a level where you do one of 2 things with criticism from your manager. One, you bulk under pressure and you cry like a baby, or 2, you up your game because you understand what the manager wants from you.
Yeah.
Ole finds himself in a weird position where he's vague about what's going on. I think one of the lines he used is that, football is like life. You need to be disciplined. I'm like, get out of here. Just be honest with what happened.
Yeah.
One, your substitutions, you got them wrong. Own up to, because everyone can see that, you messed up.
Yeah.
Because
look at
if you look at your players, dude, you've got decent players.
Yo, good players, bro. And look at Mendy's record in closing, guys. He's played 35 games in the Premier League and has 19 clean sheets, bro. That's insane.
Insane numbers.
I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't want you to say Jordan is pulling stats out of his ass, but you guys can see it yourself, bro.
I saw the
35 games.
The FIFA rankings came out, and Ter Stegen has a higher rating than.
Yeah, bro.
I couldn't understand that one.
You see, that's why he conceded 3 goals yesterday. Robert Lewandowski was just baptizing him. Well, for that rating alone.
But I think they were very fortunate. That shouldn't have been a 3-0 game.
Yeah.
That should have been probably 4-5.
Yeah, it should have, It should have, bro. I know.
So going forward? What's the remedy? Ole's got the will. You trust the process. And vibes are gonna win you guys the Champions League.
Vibes, bro.
Like I've even prepped myself, bro. Sam and I always have this convo. Like, I have zero expectations for our club. As long as this guy is in, I'm sorry, bro. We're not gonna win anything of substance, bro. And I know Bruno, Ronaldo, them being countrymen, them speaking Portuguese to one another. I'm sure they're like, I just dude, dog. In Portuguese, I'm sure they're like, I just dude, my G. Like, he ain't serious about life, dog. He ain't serious about winning stuff, bro. Then they'd hit up Dalo. They're like, come here, Dalo, dog. Come join us here, bro. And
so you're gonna have little silos. But I think in closing for my side, I firmly believe that a top-notch manager takes a good side and makes them great. I think it just ends there, because that's your differentiating factor when it comes to your tactics. Because I think if you look at the top 6 or top five teams, they all have brilliant squads. So the difference has to be the manager and what he brings to the party.
But and when I say I'm in closing, do you have anything to say?
Nothing, man. Everything which has been said from your mouth to all his ears. That's all.
Oh yeah, and then in closing for me, guys, please like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. This is the goalpost.
Peace.